Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
This video is your NCIS Season 17, Episode 5 reaction. Are you wide awake for this discussion of Wide Awake?
Yes, I am. This was sort of our Halloween type episode, so I've got on my sort of skulls scary shirt. Really, it's just a tattoo shop that I like, but it's the closest thing I've got to Halloween. I'm not really a big Halloween person, but this was definitely a little more in the kind of Halloween spirit.
I'm a big Halloween candy kind of person, so it would not be as interesting seeing me eat Halloween candy on this video. That will be saved for afterwards, but...
Yes, this is not a mukbang channel.
No. But anyway, this is a discussion about mind control.
Yes.
Hypnosis, other creepy stuff, Gibbs, a baseball, randomness,
Okay.
Gibbs and Torres. But before we talk about any of this, if you enjoy this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We also have a preview video up if you want to know more about what is coming on NCIS moving into Episode 6, which is airing in 2 weeks. All right, let's start with big picture. I'll give you my quick one-sentence review.
All right, let's hear it.
This is a very classic rainy day episode where there's not a lot going on. You're at home, you don't want to go outside, you put on this episode and you enjoy yourself.
TV comfort food.
Yeah, this is totally that. I think you have pretty good mystery, kind of, I don't know, conclusion, but pretty good mystery from start to finish.
Yeah, the conclusion, but yeah, the mystery was fun. This was a fun one.
Yeah, really fun mystery, lots of twists and turns along the way. Really good hot takes for me to dive into on Bishop and Torres. I got some thoughts after what we got tonight. And also the introduction of Baseball Kid, a.k.a. Phineas. I said Baseball Kid because I didn't remember his name until just this very second. But let's start, I think, with the case, what we learned through all of this. What did you take away from the case this time?
Take away from the case of the week? Not a lot.
Yeah.
It was just a fun, crazy, strange case.
I think the thing that was the most interesting to me about it is mostly you are expanding people's minds to a certain extent. It's like we learned ultimately it wasn't Dr. Pershing who was responsible for what happened here. He didn't hypnotize Laney to go and kill this person, Joe Cortez, but instead what we did find out was this was sort of a classic, this guy was with a woman who was having an affair, and it's the angry, vengeful husband, which,
who's also hypnotized or whatever's going on.
Yeah, he was also receiving his own treatment.
Yeah.
But, while Dr. Pershing wasn't responsible, we learned in this episode the power of hypnosis.
And some of the things that seem to have come out of it, like Torres eating a donut.
That is more surprising to me, by the way, than writing the letter.
And we never got to see the picture. I am hoping that that's going to surface somewhere in the future.
Yeah.
That, we know that she's got a picture. Bishop's got the picture. Show us the picture. Picture or it didn't happen, Bishop.
This episode is a prime example of why NCIS... You're supposed to just deal with stopping the bad guys who are torturing you. Why are you torturing us by telling us all of these things that Torres did? I wanted to see Wilmer Valderrama in a trance, stuffing his face with a donut.
And singing Beyonce.
Give me all... I don't care if you need to pay Wilmer an extra, I don't know how much per episode in order to make this happen.
Now, there is one thing that I do want to talk about, and that's that the Torres character never actually gave permission to be under hypnosis. That was something that kind of bugged me a little bit about this episode, because he didn't give permission to go under, so he didn't give permission for the things to happen. It's one thing to have somebody singing Beyonce. It is another thing to have him eating something that's out of his own nutrition schedule. That'd be like somebody... Well, it's a little more extreme, but somebody putting me under and having me eat a donut. I have celiac disease, so it's going to be a bad time. That sort of thing. Yeah. The writing of the letter, if there's something really personal in there, that's a problem. That's not something... That was the only thing about this episode that really bothered me, was that he didn't give permission for this to happen. And it seems like some things happened to him that he would it's one thing to be like, okay, hand over your knife to Ellie. Okay, that's something he would never do. That shows proof of things. Okay, now you give the knife back. That nothing has actually hurt him. Eating the donut is something that changes what he's putting in his own body, which is something that we all get to choose for ourselves and not have somebody else choose for us. But that letter, depending on what's in that letter, if that letter's just like, ha ha ha, I'm writing a letter and that's all it says, that's fine. But if he poured out his soul in that, that's not cool.
Well, I'm
just putting out there, I don't think that, if somebody did that to me, I'd be really pissed.
Yeah, I get that, but I think it ultimately is just, everything you're saying is true. I think NCIS was just trying to devise it as sort of a funny little plot device.
And I understand it, but for me, that was the bee in my bonnet in this. I felt a little awkward watching him feeling a little violated.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
I think if the only thing they needed to do was just say yes. That both of them are like, okay, we're both in the room, whatever happens, happens. That was it. I just needed some sort of permission for some sort of medical type thing to happen to somebody.
Well, let's talk about the contents of the letter, because this is the new mystery, but this actually isn't my hot take. It doesn't have anything to do with the letter. It has to do with the fact, remember this part where they were going over text lingo? Bishop and Torres knew the same abbreviation at the same exact time.
And they said it in the same way.
Are they already saying this to each other in text messages? Am I going to die on my hill with this the way that you are currently dying on your hill about Gibbs and Sloane on Christmas?
I actually don't think anything has happened with them yet.
I don't know if anything has happened with them yet, but
if they're saying I love you, then something is happening, whether it's physical or emotional. There's something that's heavy.
I think even if they haven't necessarily said it to each other, they've obviously had some sort of conversation about this term before, because it's very weird that they would say it at the same time in unison to each other. That to me is sort of like the flare that's going up in the sky, and the flare reads something's going on, and
maybe, unless it's like a I love you between friends. Good night, sleep well, I love you, or whatever it is. But
I think there needs to be 2 new letters at the end of it if it's between friends is at the end of it. Because I don't think if I texted my friend Jason this, and I gave him those abbreviations, he would change his number and never call me back.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, there's not enough there. Yeah. There's some smoke there, but I don't feel the same way that I did with that elephant picture and the Merry Christmas. That felt like something happened there. This felt like there's something there that's familiar, but it's just not there yet.
I think we're definitely building towards something with the two of them. And I think while I want to continue to read into that, because that's one of my favorite things to do, obviously, in these videos, I don't actually think it's meant to be some sort of big, tangible, reference that anything big has happened. And that's why I'm not even fully willing to get on the same hill that you're currently dying on with Gibbs and Sloane, because I feel like it is...
I am not the only person dying on that hill. There are other people out there, tell me who you are out there, that is also living on Slibbs Street with me and dying on this hill.
Well, I just think that it is a reference that's meant to kind of get us excited about the idea of the two of them together, more necessarily than for sure evidence that something happened.
I just feel that little exchange just confirmed that their friendship and their connection outside of work is very comfortable, and
it is.
And that's really cool. That was a nice reminder, because for the past few episodes it's been a lot more about how Torres feels about Bishop, and Bishop's been really focused on what's going on with Ziva. She's been harboring this huge secret for so long, and that it finally all came out, and it was nice to have that thing, that sort of tangible moment between the two of them, where it's like, this is a thing between them because they have a very comfortable connection.
Did this episode make you feel old? Because when they were listing up all those acronyms, I'm usually NCIS, it makes me feel very young, because Gibbs I know Gibbs isn't necessarily that old, but the way Gibbs acts is almost like straight out of like 1917 at times. So it's
with his face chat or whatever.
Yeah, with his face chat or Insta what. It's like, thank you, Gibbs, for making me feel hip. And then they start doing this stuff, and then I lose even more hair on top of my head, and it's just like, yeah, I'm really old now.
Yeah, I feel, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even feel old, I just am old, and yeah, that was a good reminder that I am old, and I am okay with that.
Thanks, NCIS. Anyway, let's also talk about one other important thing long term, and that is the return of the Fresnel and the opioid crisis. It was brief, but they mentioned it, and they mentioned it in the context of it sounds as though Fresnel is fine letting this go to the DEA.
Yeah.
And that's what Gibbs seems to be okay with doing. Is that really the end of this for NCIS?
I don't think it is. Like, I do think that it may come up again, because there was no reason for that to come up at all. They didn't have to mention it. They could have just, in passing, found out that Fresnel's daughter's doing better and things are a little bit better. But they didn't actually need to circle back around to it, unless, put on that tinfoil hat, Matt, unless more is coming with this and they are just giving us a little bit before the bigger hammer comes a little bit later.
Here's what we know about Steve and Frank.
Yeah.
They put things in here on purpose.
It's not an accident.
It's not an accident that they brought this back up. They want you to not forget about it.
Yep.
They recognize, and they had said this in the interview they did with us, that this is something, well, they didn't necessarily say this specifically, but there were plans that they had for the start of this season that got changed up because the Ziva storyline came together.
Yep.
I think this is probably one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it may not be really fully fleshed out until the spring because they still have more with Ziva they want to get to.
Yeah.
But I think we do need to remember this and think about it. Just put it somewhere up in the noggin and leave it there and think about it. But are there any other elements to this episode you want to break down before we sort of tie everything together?
I was really happy to see Dr. Grace back, but I was a little bit disappointed that she didn't start jumping in and diving into that last conversation that she had with SLOANE when SLOANE was expressing her feelings for someone. I kind of thought that might have come back up. Little disappointed that wasn't there.
I'm a little bit bummed. I did think when I saw Dr. Grace and the guest star credits before, I was like, all right, let's do this, Dr. Grace. Let's get some scenes. Let's get some info. Can help Gibbs change a little bit more, like all this sort of stuff. And instead, she's mostly just there for the purposes of hypnosis.
Yeah.
But
I'll take her when I can get her. But yeah, I was hoping for a little, just the tiniest doorway opening a little bit.
Yeah, I think ultimately we'll probably see her again. I don't know if it will be in the context in which most of us collectively hope that it would be.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see her again.
Yeah.
But let's wrap up this video discussion of Wide Awake. Be sure to check out our preview for what is coming up next time. Big KASIE episode coming up. Yes. And also, let us know your thoughts about tonight, about hypnosis. Were you let down by the end of this case a little bit? It was kind of, not as crazy as the rest of it, but it was a really fun journey to get there.
It was a good journey, but yeah, that was, I don't know, man. Kind of like Dexter. A wonderful journey, a really good mystery, a really good story, and then you're a lumberjack, and you're kind of like,
Ironically,
all right.
I could see Gibbs as a lumberjack. I think Gibbs would be a good lumberjack. I think
he does have his cabin.
He does have a cabin. See, he's got a lot of things going for him already. Also, apparently, very good baseball player, judging from very odd timing, by the way. Last thing I'll say. NCIS putting on your baseball episode up against the World Series. Nobody who cares about baseball is watching you right now, NCIS. Just so you know. But anyway, let us know your thoughts on this episode in the comments. And also, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking out that link in the description to the CARTERMATT store. And we'll see you here next time.